This picture was taken in 2024. I can prove it to you. I can also prove that it's not Archie. Those words came from a viewer who decided to dig deeper into something Meghan Markle posted on her Instagram. A simple skiing video that was supposed to show a sweet family moment. But what should have been an innocent clip of young Archie learning to ski with his father has now become the latest example of content from Montecito that simply does not hold up under scrutiny. The mainstream media ran with it immediately, publishing articles about the adorable Sussex family vacation without asking a single question about the glaring inconsistencies that ordinary viewers spotted within hours. Here is what we know. Meghan posted a video to her Instagram showing what she claims is Archie skiing down a mountain with Harry, allegedly filming from behind. The caption suggested this was recent footage, with Meghan proudly noting that her son is a quick learner, implying this was his first time on the slopes. Hello Magazine, GB News, the BBC, and Page 6 all picked up the story and published it as authentic current footage without a moment of hesitation. Not one outlet questioned the timeline. Not one reporter asked why the child in the video appears to be clearly older than a 5 or 6-year-old would be. Not one journalist bothered to cross-reference the footage with documented events, but viewers did, and what they found raises serious questions about whether anything coming out of that Montecito mansion can be taken at face value anymore. The frustration among those who have been following this story closely is palpable, and I have to say I understand it completely. The video that Meghan Markle posted is recent as of now, and I can prove it to you that that is not Archie. Every time Meghan and Harry release content, whether it is a photograph, a video clip, or a carefully worded statement, people now feel compelled to verify it themselves because the track record simply does not inspire confidence. That is not healthy for anyone involved. Not for the public trying to follow along, not for the media trying to report accurately, and certainly not for whatever credibility the Sussexes have left. What we're going to examine today goes beyond just one questionable skiing video. We're going to look at the evidence, the timeline, the pattern, and what it all means for a couple who have built their entire post-royal brand on authenticity and transparency. The ski lift in the background moves at a pace that seems inconsistent with reality. The shadows in different parts of the frame point in directions that do not align. And the child navigating that slope moves with a confidence and proficiency that simply does not match a first-time learner. These are the details that jumped out to thousands of viewers within hours of the video being posted. While major news organizations publish the story without a single critical observation, this is not just about whether one video is authentic or not. This is about a pattern of alleged deception that has eroded trust to the point where nothing from this couple can be accepted without verification. The photograph that Hello Magazine and other outlets used to validate the skiing video tells a very different story than the one Meghan wants you to believe. The image shows Prince Harry alongside Justin Trudeau and an Olympic skier presented as proof that the Sussex family was enjoying a current ski vacation. The implication was clear. This photograph and the skiing video of Archie were taken during the same trip, a lovely family getaway to the mountains. There is just one problem. That photograph was taken in 2024 at Whistler when Harry traveled to Vancouver to promote the upcoming 2025 Invictus Games. This is not speculation or guesswork. The event was documented, time-stamped, and reported on at the time. You can see Meghan Markle's video of the child, allegedly Archie, that is supposed to be taken at the same time that Harry's skiing with Trudeau. That child is about 7 or 8 years old, is very advanced. That kid is not Archie. Harry's presence at Whistler for the Invictus Games promotion was covered by multiple outlets, photographed extensively, and exists in the public record for anyone willing to spend 30 seconds searching for it. If the photograph is from 2024 and the video is being presented as coming from the same trip, then we have a major problem with the timeline. In 2024, Archie would have been approximately 5 years old. The child in that skiing video does not look 5 years old. Multiple viewers with experience around children in skiing have noted that the child appears to be closer to 7 or 8 years old, moving with a level of confidence and skill that does not match a kindergartner attempting the sport for the first time. The timeline discrepancy is not subtle. It is gaping. And yet, Not a single mainstream outlet bothered to check. They simply accepted the Sussex narrative, slapped a headline on it, and moved along. This is precisely what happens when media organizations decide that access to a celebrity couple matters more than accuracy. When the relationship becomes more valuable than the reporting. Who is filming? I think Harry's the one filming. I think Harry's filming a child and an instructor, and he's just going down the mountain filming them. Like I said, some people think it's AI. The Sussexes have cultivated this active expertly, rewarding favorable coverage with exclusives and punishing critical reporting with silence and legal threats. What makes this particular instance so frustrating is how easily it could have been caught. The Trudeau photograph exists in news archives. Harry's Whistler trip for Invictus was widely covered. Any reporter doing basic due diligence would have found the discrepancy within minutes. Instead, they published first and apparently never bothered to verify at all. People close to this situation have been tracking these inconsistencies for years, and the Whistler connection is just the latest example of content being presented as new when it clearly is not. The Sussexes appear to operate under the assumption that their audience is not paying attention, that nobody will bother to check the details, that the sheer volume of sympathetic coverage will drown out any questions. They underestimated the internet. They underestimated viewers who have watched this pattern unfold repeatedly. And they certainly underestimated the collective memory of people who remember when that Trudeau photograph actually appeared in the news cycle. The question that keeps returning is simple. Why does this keep happening? Why do documented timeline conflicts continue to emerge from Montecito? Why does content that is presented as authentic keep falling apart under basic scrutiny? Either the Sussexes are extraordinarily careless with their public relations, or something else is going on entirely. Meghan's caption on the video made a specific claim. She called Archie a quick learner, language that strongly implies this was his first experience on skis. That framing is important because it sets viewer expectations for what they should be seeing. A child learning to ski for the first time looks a particular way, and experienced parents and ski instructors immediately notice that the child in the video does not match that expectation. Children learning to ski are typically attached to instructors in some fashion, often with harnesses or physical support systems that prevent falls and control speed. They do not use poles initially because managing poles while trying to balance is too complex for a beginner. Their movements are tentative, uncertain, characterized by the kind of wobbling hesitation that comes with attempting something completely new. First-time child skiers fall frequently, stop constantly, and require near constant hands-on guidance. The child in Meghan's video does none of these things. The figure moves down the slope with steady, confident movements that suggest experience rather than first exposure. The skiing is smooth, controlled, and displays none of the characteristic uncertainty of a beginner. Comments flooded in from parents and instructors, pointing out the obvious. This is not what learning to ski looks like. Then there are the technical questions that have sparked intense debate. The ski lift visible in the background appears to move at an unusual speed, faster than seems physically realistic for standard lift operations. Some viewers have noted that shadows in the video point in conflicting directions, which would be impossible under natural lighting conditions. Others have suggested that certain elements of the footage show characteristics consistent with AI generation rather than organic video capture. Whether the video is AI-generated, features a different child entirely, or simply represents different footage being mislabeled as recent remains unclear. What is clear is that thousands of viewers looked at the same footage and immediately said something was wrong. That collective instinct deserves acknowledgement rather than dismissal. The question of Harry's behavior in the video also raises eyebrows. If this truly is a child learning to ski for the first time, why is the father filming from behind rather than skiing alongside to provide protection and guidance? Any parent teaching a young child a potentially dangerous new skill would prioritize safety over content creation. The fact that Harry apparently chose to capture footage rather than stay within arm's reach of a learning child suggests either striking confidence in the child's abilities or a scenario that does not quite match the narrative being presented. Leilani of Barbados, a commentary creator who has followed the Sussexes extensively, offered perhaps the most cutting assessment of the footage, whether it is Archie or not. "This is nothing. Go on ahead, Meghan. Give us nothing." The observation strikes at something fundamental about how Meghan approaches content creation. There is no music, no production value, no storytelling, no personality, just white snow in a distant figure that could be anyone. Compare this to how professional content creators approach similar moments. There would be close-up shots, personality, narrative context, emotional payoff. There would be something that makes the viewer feel they experienced a genuine moment with the family. Instead, Meghan delivers the bare minimum and expects maximum praise. That mentality extends to everything she touches, from Netflix to podcasts to American Riviera Orchard. The skiing video exists as another data point, and a pattern that has become impossible to ignore. Every piece of content from Montecito now receives forensic analysis because the track record demands. Skepticism. The media's handling of this story reveals something troubling about how celebrity coverage operates in 2025. Hello Magazine ran the story as authenticated fact. GB News published without questioning the timeline. The BBC, an organization with actual journalistic standards and resources, presented the footage as genuine current content. Page 6 followed suit. Not one major outlet applied basic journalistic rigor to the material before publishing. This represents a complete abdication of the media's responsibility to verify before amplifying. These are not small operations with limited resources. These are major publications with research departments, fact-checkers, and editorial oversight. The failure to catch an obvious timeline discrepancy suggests either willful blindness or a troubling prioritization of access over accuracy. Compare this treatment to how other public figures face media scrutiny. When inconsistencies emerge in statements from politicians or business leaders, journalists investigate. When timeline conflicts appear in corporate communications, reporters dig deeper. But when the Sussexes release content that does not add up, the major outlets simply transcribe and publish. The double standard is striking. People who have followed this pattern for years express a consistent frustration. They think we are stupid. They think the internet is not forever. They think that by using the mainstream media over and putting out a lie repeatedly, it is going to make it true. That sentiment captures something real about how the Sussex media strategy appears to operate. Flood the zone with sympathetic coverage. Rely on access journalism to prevent critical questioning and assume that the sheer volume of positive press will overwhelm any grassroots skepticism. What they did not anticipate was the emergence of a parallel verification system. Thousands of ordinary viewers who cross-reference claims, check timelines, examine photographs for metadata, and share their findings across social media platforms. The traditional gatekeepers no longer control the narrative exclusively. When major outlets fail to do their jobs, the audience picks up the slack. This active creates an adversarial relationship between the Sussexes and a major portion of the viewing public. Every release becomes a puzzle to be solved rather than content to be enjoyed. Every claim requires independent verification. Every photograph and video faces scrutiny that once was reserved for political campaigns and corporate scandals. That is an exhausting way for everyone involved to experience public life. But it is a direct consequence of repeated instances where the official narrative simply did not match the evidence. The response from Sussex supporters has been predictable, dismissing questions as conspiracy theories, attacking those who raise concerns, and insisting that the timing of the Trudeau photograph must have an innocent explanation. Perhaps it does, but the burden of proof has shifted. When you have been caught in inconsistencies repeatedly, you no longer get the benefit of the doubt. That is a consequence the Sussexes appear unwilling to accept. The skiing video does not exist in isolation. It arrives as the latest entry in a catalog of Sussex content that has raised serious questions about authenticity and timeline accuracy. Understanding the pattern requires looking backward at documented discrepancies that have accumulated over the years. The circumstances surrounding Archie's birth generated questions that have never been satisfactorily answered. The timeline presented to the public contained elements that medical professionals found improbable, including claims about epidural administration and discharge timing that do not align with standard hospital protocols. The baptism photograph released in July of 2019 was reportedly taken on May 8 of that year, just 2 days after Archie was born. Yet, presented months later with dating that created confusion about when events actually occurred. Lilith's birth during the height of CO restrictions raised additional questions. Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital operated under strict protocols during that period with limitations on who could be present in delivery rooms and mandatory protective equipment requirements. The timing and circumstances described by the Sussexes did not align with what medical facilities in the area were actually doing during that specific week when Santa Barbara County was reporting thousands of COVID cases and hospitals were implementing their most stringent precautions. These are not wild speculations from conspiracy theorists. These are documented timeline conflicts that emerge from comparing Sussex claims against public records, hospital protocols, and news coverage from the relevant periods. The pattern suggests either striking carelessness about details or something more deliberate. The history extends beyond birth and baptism questions. Photographs released by the Sussexes have repeatedly faced questions about timing, editing, and authenticity. The incident at Kim Kardashian's birthday party, where Meghan reportedly demanded removal of photographs while claiming consent forms were never signed, later contradicted by Kim herself, demonstrated how the couple handles situations where the public narrative conflicts with what actually happened. Rather than acknowledging mistakes, the approach appears to be deny, deflect, and attack anyone who raises questions. This accumulated history is precisely why a simple skiing video now generates thousands of comments questioning its authenticity. The Sussexes have created this act of themselves through years of content that does not hold up under examination. Every new release inherits the skepticism earned by previous releases. Trust once lost requires consistent honesty over time to rebuild. Instead, the pattern of questionable content continues and the credibility gap widens further. I've been saying for a long time that nothing from Montecito can be accepted at face value anymore, and this latest video only reinforces that conclusion. When your audience has been burned repeatedly, they stop giving you the benefit of the doubt. That is not unfair treatment. That is a natural consequence of how trust works. The timing of this skiing video release deserves examination because nothing from Montecito happens by accident. This content appeared during a particularly difficult period for Harry as his ongoing court case against British newspapers was generating headlines he almost certainly would prefer to avoid. The revelations about Harry's relationship with Charlotte Griffith, the editor-at-large of the Daily Mail on Sunday, proved deeply embarrassing. Despite Harry's claims under oath that he cut off contact after learning she was a journalist, evidence emerged of communications extending over 2 months, including what court observers described as flirtatious exchanges. The messages included references to movie snuggles and questions about whether they could be naughty next weekend. The discrepancy between Harry's sworn testimony and the documented record created serious problems for his legal position. The emergence of the nickname Mr. Mischief, apparently how Charlotte Griffith referred to Harry during their communications, generated major mockery online. According to sources close to the situation, Harry reportedly dreads the possibility of this moniker gaining traction the way other Sussex nicknames have. The embarrassment factor is large, particularly for someone who has built a public identity around being a serious advocate for causes like mental health and media responsibility. Against this backdrop of negative Harry headlines, Meghan releases a charming family video showing the boys enjoying quality time together. The pattern is familiar. When Harry faces criticism or embarrassment, family content appears to redirect attention. When negative stories gain momentum, heartwarming Sussex content emerges to compete for headlines. The timing is never coincidental. The toy store appearance on April 1st when Meghan was photographed visiting a Montecito establishment called Toy Crazy fits the same pattern. Carefully staged, candid moments designed to present the image of a normal, relatable mother doing normal, relatable things. Fan accounts on Instagram quickly posted the photographs, noting that Archie and Libet were allegedly present but cropped from images due to California privacy laws protecting children. How convenient that the children were there to validate the story, but cannot be shown to verify the claim. These tactical content releases serve multiple purposes. They generate positive coverage to counterbalance negative stories. They remind the public that Meghan and Harry have children, which tends to generate sympathy. They maintain visibility during periods when the couple might otherwise fade from attention. And they provide the Sussex Squad the network of devoted online supporters, with ammunition to flood comment sections with positive messaging. The strategy reveals something important about how the Sussexes view their relationship with the public. Content is not created to share genuine moments. Content is deployed strategically to shape narrative, manage perception, and distract from unflattering developments. Every post has a purpose beyond what appears on the surface. Every video serves the brand. Nothing is accidental. This instrumental approach to public communication might explain why so much Sussex content feels hollow. There is no authenticity because authenticity is not the goal. The goal is perception management, and viewers can sense the difference even when they cannot articulate exactly what feels wrong. The fundamental issue with the skiing video, and indeed with most content Meghan produces, centers on a quality problem that reflects deeper issues with how she approaches work. Leilani of Barbados articulated this perfectly. There is no music. There is no production value. There is nothing interesting behind it. She just thinks she has to do the bare minimum, and that is why her career, any career that she thought she would have, has failed. That assessment is harsh but accurate. Compare the skiing video to content from professional creators who share family moments. Successful family content creators understand narrative, pacing, personality, and payoff. They build anticipation, deliver satisfying moments, and leave viewers feeling they experience something worthwhile. They understand that simply pointing a camera at an event is not the same as creating content worth watching. Meghan's approach suggests she believes her presence alone justifies the content. The mere fact that this is Archie's scheme should be enough. The audience should be grateful for any glimpse into Sussex family life. The expectation appears to be that bare minimum effort deserves maximum praise simply because of who she is. This mentality explains so much about the Sussex professional trajectory. Netflix received content that did not meet expectations because the couple believed their names would carry the day regardless of quality. Spotify invested tens of millions for a podcast that produced minimal episodes because the Sussexes apparently thought showing up occasionally was sufficient. American Riviera Orchard launched with enormous fanfare and has produced what exactly? Some jam that arrived without labels and dog biscuits that appeared to be samples from commercial manufacturers. The pattern is consistent. Big announcements, minimal follow-through, expectations that the audience will be satisfied with whatever crumbs are offered. Professional partners who expect actual deliverables find themselves frustrated by what appears to be a fundamental unwillingness to do the work required for success. A Variety reporter who covered the Sussexes extensively explained the Hollywood perspective on working with them. Top talent does not have a huge interest in working with them, specifically because even extending a simple social invite turns into a 5-car PR pileup. The Kardashian incident, where the Sussexes created drama over photographs at a birthday party, demonstrated what happens when established industry figures attempt to include them in normal social activities. The same reporter noted that talent apparently views the Sussexes as too invasive in their creative demands while having no actual track record of producing successful content. Why would established creators humor opinions and feedback from people who have never really done this outside of unscripted projects about themselves? It is a devastating assessment from someone with deep sources throughout the entertainment industry. I have never bought the explanation that the Sussexes failed in Hollywood because of British tabloid interference. The British tabloids have no influence over what Netflix greenlights or what Hollywood talent chooses to work on. The failure is native to the couple themselves, their approach, their expectations, and their unwillingness to deliver quality work. The skiing video controversy, like so many Sussex content releases before it, ultimately comes down to a fundamental erosion of trust. Every time content emerges from Montecito, thousands of viewers immediately begin verification processes. They check timelines, examine metadata, compare photographs to archived images, and share findings across social media platforms. This is not normal viewer behavior. This is what happens when an audience has been burned repeatedly and no longer believes what they are being told. The Kardashian photograph incident established a template that viewers now apply to everything. Meghan demanded consent forms that did not exist.
Kim
Kardashian later confirmed the Sussexes had signed releases. Rather than apologizing for the confusion, the Sussex camp attempted to shift blame. The incident demonstrated that when caught in inconsistencies, the response is denial rather than accountability. Patrick J. Adams, Meghan's closest co-star from her Suits days, recently gave an interview that revealed more through what was not said than through what was. When asked if Meghan had ever written him a handwritten note, he deflected unconvincingly. When asked if he received jam from American Riviera Orchard, he admitted he had not, then joked that maybe he did not have enough followers. The comment landed as more revealing than intended. Maybe I do not have enough followers suggests someone who understands that Meghan's attention correlates directly with what people can do for her public profile. Adams also mentioned that Meghan gave him a lot of eye rolls on set, constant expressions of annoyance at his presence. He tried to frame it affectionately, but the pattern emerged nonetheless. Someone who eye rolls at colleagues regularly is not the warm, collaborative person the carefully managed public image suggests. The Variety reporter covering the Sussex Hollywood experience confirmed that when Meghan became annoyed during Zoom meetings, she would turn her camera off to express displeasure. Her lawyers denied this claim, suggesting she was simply a busy mom. The reporter stood by his reporting, noting multiple sources confirmed the behavior. The pattern fits. When things do not go Meghan's way, she disengages rather than adapting. Hollywood's verdict, according to deep industry sources, is that working with the Sussexes creates hassles that outweigh any potential benefits. Established talent does not need the PR complications. Producers do not want partners who believe their opinions matter more than their track record justifies. The blacklist is not official, but it is real. This picture was taken in 2024. I can prove it to you. Those words from the beginning of our examination have proven prophetic. The evidence does speak, and what it says is damning. The Trudeau photograph documents Harriet Whistler for Invictus promotion, not a current family vacation. The child in the video moves like an experienced skier, not a 5-year-old first-timer. The timeline does not work. The narrative does not hold. But here is the thing that truly matters. Whether this specific video features Archie or not almost becomes secondary to a larger truth.
The fact
that thousands of viewers immediately distrusted the content, demanded verification, and conducted their own investigations reveals how completely the Sussexes have squandered public goodwill. When your audience becomes investigators rather than viewers, you have already lost them. Every time things go quiet around the Sussexes, there is another interview, another leak, another dramatic revelation. Private family conversations end up as Netflix content. Personal moments become podcast episodes. Childhood photographs of William appear on Sussex fan accounts with captions about violent tendencies. The institution they claim to want peace with faces constant assault through carefully timed releases and strategic attacks. They have turned the monarchy into a content mine. And every time they dig, they do real damage to the institution and to the people still in it. At some point, you have to ask whether the drama is accidental or whether it is the product. From where I sit, having watched this pattern unfold for years, the answer seems increasingly clear. The chaos is the business model. The controversies generate attention. The conflicts create content. Peace would mean irrelevance, and irrelevance is the one thing the Sussexes cannot tolerate. The skiing video will fade from the news cycle. Within days, another controversy will emerge to take its place. The pattern will continue because the pattern is the point. Meghan and Harry have built an existence around being interesting to watch, and they have discovered that conflict is far more interesting than contentment. For viewers who want to believe in the Sussex narrative, every new piece of questionable content requires another round of mental gymnastics. For those who gave up believing long ago, each incident simply confirms what they already suspected. And for the media outlets that continue publishing Sussex content without verification, the embarrassment of being wrong again apparently matters less than maintaining access to a couple who still generate clicks. The real story is not whether one skiing video is authentic. The real story is that we have to ask it all. When a couple who left royal life claiming to pursue privacy and authenticity produces content that consistently requires verification, the brand promise has failed. When viewers trust their own investigative abilities more than official Sussex communications, the relationship between this couple and the public has fundamentally broken. That break is not the fault of British tabloids. No matter how often that excuse is deployed, that break is the direct result of choices made in Montecito, content released without quality control, claims made without verification, and a persistent pattern of material that does not survive basic scrutiny. Sound off in the comments, and if this is your first time here, subscribe. You will want to be here for what is